Guess what time it is? Because it seems like it's possibly time for more One Vision. You know, just maybe. Just maybe a little bit. It's alright. Last time was going pretty okay. Overall, at least somewhat decent. So we're about to do Belmosa 2 here. You know, what better place to go and wipe a run, you know? Right at the very start here. So let's go ahead and move this window over and make sure that we're not getting any stuttery type stuff. Move that over there. Now, as far as this team's concerned, I should probably take out Canopus. As good as he is, the AI doesn't really seem to be too competent as far as figuring out how to use his regen move, so probably better off having one of the other two here. I believe it was it Aubrey or Elorette that was the spear user? Okay, so Elorette's the spear, so she's the one we want in here. Because, yeah, we don't really need too many bows. We're going for an uphill fight here. 3 healers is going to be more than enough. It's alright. Let's get this thing going, then. Actually, wait. Spear user... Do we have Aegis yet on that knight? I don't think we do. No, that's at 8. So we need one more level to pick up Aegis. You know, it's probably worth putting away Sarah for this one, just to let him come along. Because as good as Sarah is, she might not necessarily be able to survive. So let's go ahead and go like this. We already have at least one crossbow. So yeah, this is an uphill fight with very few actual sightlines to take advantage of. Yeah, just finished watching a video. I was going through and looking at a few different videos there, you know, over the course of lunch, and was all excited. I was all excited because I see somebody finally mentions Tactics Ogre. I'm like, what happened to the Ogre Battle series? I'm like, oh, sweet. Somebody mentioned it, and the ultimate conclusion was it wasn't ever successful. Don't question it. I was like, oh, but it was though. They did pretty well. I mean, for the genre anyway, they did pretty dang well. So trying a little bit different with lighting here. We'll see how that ends up going. Maybe it'll be good, maybe it'll be bad. Just basically a slight variation on what I had been trying previously. Doesn't seem too bad. I did put away the suit for the moment though. And yeah, part of it had to do with some flying coffee, because it turns out that you can get bashed over the head real good with a coffee container. Funny part is, by the way, so Maxwell House, right? I don't understand what kind of weird, like, octopus people those containers were designed for. And, you know, nothing negative here if you happen to like Maxwell House, but I was wondering why the hell it was on sale. This was on sale for suspiciously cheap when we picked it up, and as soon as I saw it, I'm like, my ridiculously cheap self can't say no to that, so, you know, immediately went and looked at it, you know, picked it up. It's like, okay. So, not really getting why it's so cheap. And then, yeah, as soon as I go to put it in the cupboard, all becomes clear. It's just that moment where suddenly everything in the universe makes sense. Because, yeah, like, for whatever reason, the little grippies on it, like little side grips, they're tapered in such a way that, like, you grab it and it flies out of your hand. And it's just, like, about a 3/4 inch little thing, like, that goes into it. Like, normally they'd have, like, a little, like, kind of shaped like this little grip thing. You know, you'd grip it on both sides, and you can actually grip it. It's great. It's handy. Instead, for that one, they just have this thing where, like, yeah, it's just like a little circular nub thing that doesn't even stop at any point. It's just like, you gotta give it, like, a full-on, like, crushing grip, or else you can't grab it, and then you grab it too hard, and it flies straight out of your hand. Which is basically what happened. I was going to go put the thing away, and then it just, like, shoots out of my hand and falls back and smacks me in the face, and I'm spilling some coffee. But anyway, you know, everyone's got a different lunch, I suppose. Alright, do we need any healing? Not quite yet, so we'll go ahead and move along here. Yeah, still considering trying this run for vanilla, depending on how this goes. Because a vanilla run, interestingly enough, it's not necessarily like one and done with archers and ninjas and all that kind of thing. Because the funny thing is, with ninjas, they're literally only useful if a player's using them. They, like, if you get the decoy scroll and all that kind of thing, that's great. Like, that's all well and good. But if you end up getting if you end up running into one of those situations where they just like decide to never use Steel Stance or something like that, or they just decide to never use Decoy, they're as good as dead basically. Or if I guess it depends. If you get into Ultra Endgame, like with this rule set, I have a feeling a lot of the issues, like an AI run, a lot of the weird imbalances from vanilla would be really hard to work around, because it wouldn't be able to reload a failed craft or anything. So, like, getting friggin' superior... What was it, like superior Ghost Blades or whatever the hell it was? I think it was what carried me through the last run. Getting something like that is still like a 40% chance after, like, a 5% chance to drop the dang things in the first place. Hello there, Mr. Smootal. How are things? Lurk mode on. I don't understand why that came through as 3 dots. I couldn't possibly tell you, man. Not a friggin' clue. Also, at some point, I plan to edit that picture that's up above there, because I kind of like the idea of having like a griffin with a weird horse head, with just like Lance riding the thing. So I'll actually Photoshop that picture later. I tried doing that whole simple Photoshop, just magic marker or magic selection button type situation, but it didn't exactly want to cooperate. But yeah, I absolutely want to stick that picture up on top of the thing. It just looks hilarious and weirdly fitting. He was writing the plot the entire time. Like, literally, he is the plot. That's the best part. Like, in the background of the entire series, he just is the plot. Ah, man. It's like, that's probably one of the reasons why Matsuno really didn't like Knight of Lotus very much. Because basically, it just kind of confirms that if he decided not to be a dick after the end of that game, it doesn't matter, there's no more plot, it's just all gone now. Okay, good damage on you. Suck damage on you, but good chances of poison, probably. Got any poisons off? Like, usually you know you're going to get the poison off if you've got good damage. Because that's just, like, the game's way of telling you made it past their armor, so you're going to get that poison in there. At least, I mean, it's not exactly how that works, but more than likely that's how it's going to go. And it's a nice little immersive way to think about it. But yeah, so, after this fight is kind of when things may start to get threatening. Like, after crafting's unlocked, and probably around mid-chapter 2 is really where the game starts taking off. So, Mr. Smurtle, I'm assuming you haven't... Well, actually, I think you've said that you haven't played this game before. So, I'll go ahead and give a little bit of a brief rundown as to what exactly is, going on here. It's basically, the whole plot of this game is just like, you are one of 3 kids, one of whom has actually betrayed us in the background here in the plot, because he wanted to go genocide a town. We'll get back to that in a second. But yeah, one of 3 kids that's essentially part of a country that was more or less like crushed in some recent wars, and so they're coming back. They're trying to do this whole like little mini rebellion thing. They join a current rebellion after doing so, after saving their leader. They completely would have died on the spot if not for the intervention of some characters from a previous game, which happens pretty frequently. Basically, there's an ongoing thing where like the main characters and/or just kind of team characters from previous games kind of come in and pretty much save the plot, as it were. Which, in many ways, I feel could have been handled better, because I feel like in almost all but one case, maybe, they've got some pretty decent plot armor on them. Like, for example, I would say Lance is the definite exception for this one, though I really love how they did the DLC for it. Actually, no, what the hell am I talking about? No, they don't even... No, I'm an idiot. Ignore me. At the very start, they do. But by the end of the game, yeah, no, they can all totally die. I'm just being dumb. Such things happen. All brain dead today. Thanks, brain. It's all your fault. Alright, let's go ahead and do a little bit of Drain Heart here. Man, I love having access to this early in the game. I love it. So yeah, he can be a pretty decent threat. Like, even on his own, despite the fact that most of the AI characters suck, I feel as a Necromancer he's going to do a real good job. Yeah, even Voltaire's even doing a pretty okay job over there. And he's still using a basic axe. I haven't even upgraded him yet. Actually, I don't think he can even use the upgraded axe. I think that's like at 7 or so. So yeah, one thing I should mention. So yeah, that overall plot is, yeah, there's this little rebellion that's trying to more or less claim what was once their country. The problem is there's 2 other places trying to do that as well. So it's like this whole power struggle where one of them won. They got backed by what's basically the Holy Roman Empire, the Holy Lydian Empire in this one. But yeah, they basically just came in. They're like, yep, whoever we back wins, basically. And so they end up winning, but they end up stopping short of crushing everybody because their leader steps in, who's incidentally that guy at the top right of the screen. He's like, okay, so look, we beat the crap out of everyone here. How about you just chill with the genocide, and we're just gonna go rule stuff now, okay? We're just gonna rule what we have here. We don't need to cause any more bad blood everywhere. It's bad press. Just just calm down, calm down. So the bishop that's running them all, or is he a bishop? I think he's a bishop. Anyway, so he agrees to chill out and just kind of stay up north for a while. And so it's basically like, let's see, it's like up here you got all those guys, like right on a peninsula, kind of about here-ish. There's just a wall with those Dark Knights that were kind of the ones backing them there. And then the bottom one is split into 2 halves with the other 2 factions. I'm only not calling them by name because it's easier not to, just because that seems even more confusing. So that's more or less the plot of this one. Big old power struggle. Ultimately, it ends up being about some dude trying to bring a demon back from Hell Portal. Because of course it is. That's what like JRPGs always end up becoming. Because for some reason we can't just stop when the plot stops. Because it's actually funny, like the entire end dungeon has no point. Like aside from this random side plot, you actually end up finishing the war plot right before that. Man, I'm going on all kinds of weird tangents right now. Should look into if my brain's malfunctioning. Very well might be. Might have gotten a weird concussion from that coffee. Stop trying to bring gallon tubs of coffee on your head, you idiot. Alright. How are our numbers looking right now? Let's see, let's cycle stats here. So yeah, health-wise, yeah, we're doing pretty alright. I don't know why I don't always leave it on health bars. That seems like the most logical thing to do. But yeah, so it'll be easy for now. But only for now. And the whole reason I've gone for these particular units, since you know, wasn't particularly explained earlier. So each of the different classes, when it comes to the rebalance of this game, has its own like very specific role. Like the original version of this didn't. Let's just say the ideas were there, but they didn't always implement them correctly. So, for example, like Terror Knights, the ones over there in the black armor, their abilities are very largely similar to their base game counterpart. It's mostly their equipment and what one of their abilities does that's actually different to any degree. See, originally their role was supposed to be a demoralization unit. So back in the SNES and PS1 version, there used to be this this thing that was called a mental gauge, and essentially it was just this little either 0, +1, or +1, -1, +2, -2 that you just always saw in the background. So, well, not in the background, it was very much in the foreground. It was basically just this little bar. It was like, I think it was roughly 15% per +1 or +2, or -1 or -2. Something along those lines, which is basically, it was like a overall stat increase or decrease based off of morale. So if you had some units that were doing really well, or if you had some units that were designated leader units or something like that, they increased morale around themselves. If you had characters like, for example, the Terror Knights there, they ended up dropping morale for everybody around them. Unfortunately, they found it very difficult to actually balance that as a feature, so they ended up nerfing them very severely. So, like, the original ones were just, like, absolutely garbage for fighting stats because they assumed they would be fighting somebody roughly, at a roughly negative 15% penalty at all times. Because the negative effects could stack. So you could have a couple of them up in your front lines, and then they would, they would help a lot with stats. Unfortunately, like I said, it's a nice idea, but more often than not, they just typically ended up dying. They actually had a game on the GBA on which they handled it a bit better, in which it was just an ability that anyone could get. But I don't believe it could actually stack in that one. Or maybe I have those completely backwards. I don't know. There's so many mechanics it's hard to keep track of sometimes. But his point being, they sucked. They were really, really bad. And it was especially baffling because they were, like, the main unit of this army that supposedly beat everybody, and they're using the by far, well, in my opinion, by far worst class in the game. It's arguable which one actually filled that role, because then there were other things to consider, like background stat growth, so every time that somebody gained a level, they got a certain amount of... They got, like, a very tiny amount in terms of background stats, or in other cases, it was their speed or their equipment selection that needed to be considered. And yeah, there was just too many mechanics to consider to really say which one was necessarily worst. I mean, for best, you had two contenders because they kind of forgot to balance two of them, but either way. I think I'm kind of getting completely off track here. The main goal of what I was trying to say is that, yeah, Terror Knights used to be pretty awful. So right now, they are what's just considered a heavy class. So, like, anybody that is a heavily armored unit just gets access to heavy armor. They don't necessarily need anything innately. They don't have to build their respective things from stats whatsoever. It's just they have a baseline amount of stats. Everyone's running about the same amount. They may be slightly better or worse at certain things, but it's their equipment that's going to make the difference. So there's a guy in heavy armor. He's going to, it doesn't matter how muscular he is underneath it. Like, it helps a little bit. Your strength and vitality will help in terms of defense, but in general, it's going to be the armor taking the hit. They're not taking the hit directly. Which is one of those things that makes this mod so damn good. But anyway, I think I've immediately scared off everybody who's ever going to look back at this. Like, oh god, he's trying to explain basic mechanics again. Quick, run. Set the video on fire. Bleach your eyes. / ears. I don't know. I'm having a weird day. Let's just put it at that. So, what else here? What else? I mean, there's really just not much to say yet. We're literally just building up, and it's already 2 streams in. Yeah, there we go. Let's just heal you. In fact, these guys are dominating way more than I would have thought. I was actually expecting that this could potentially have been one of the areas where things went completely south. I feel like as long as we don't pick up any Mend Leaves, we're probably solid, because then I can control who heals and who doesn't. Because them going and trying to use those heals it's just consistently been the biggest problem of the team. And actually, when I was doing the AI tournament, it was the same thing, where anybody that was going and using Mend Leaves, well, they just get stuck in Mend Leaf hell. There was nothing that they could do about it. It was just, they're stuck there using the same item over and over. So yeah, for future tournaments, definitely banning those. It's, again, really baffling that their AI does that, because the vanilla version heals half as much. So 25 health is almost never useful in base game. It's just a complete waste to use your turn to heal that paltry amount, when you can do literally almost anything else. Like hell, even if somebody's limited to only basic heal leaves, they can still get the +1, +2, I believe, versions for Field Alpha 1. Actually, no. For basic, I think it's only +1 for basic. And then still, anybody can use scrolls. There was no limitation on that, so there's no reason that they can't do almost 3 times as much healing. But oh well. Oh well. There's a lot of fun things that could be discussed about the base game version. It's just a very interesting beast. But oh well. For now we just play this. Or rather, it mostly plays itself. Like, I'm waiting for that moment where Cash was gone. Because then suddenly it's just Denim. It's just Denim to control for the whole rest of the game. Just King Denim. Alright. For Ned Stank in this game. Or in this version. Instance? Yeah, let's go with Instance. Apparently I just can't speak right now. Apologize for that. Apologies for being a bit of an idiot this afternoon. There we go. You know what I think it was? Yeah, while I was eating lunch, I was trying to clean out the bathrooms here. I think I inhaled too much bleach. We'll just blame that. Alright. Yeah, we're doing alright for levels here. And there's Mr. Vice. Being a bit of a doofus. Being a bit of a dick, and that's why we're gonna go for the malfunction route. Because quite frankly, Mr. Vice freaking out and completely going haywire is probably one of the best parts of Neutral. Welcome, visual glitches. Nice to see you. Let me test one thing here. If I turn it off, where is it? Let's turn off this, and let's turn off, or turn on this. Are we getting chipping and chopping? Yeah, we're getting chipping and chopping. Why do you do that? Okay, first off, let's try turning off this. I'm sure there must be something I can change. Let's turn down that curves quality. Is that helping out at all? Good God, no it isn't. Alright, come on, settings. What's wrong with you? You used to play all this just fine. Let's see. What if we turn off anti-scopic? Is that it? Maybe? Nope. Sure as hell wasn't that. So let's put that back on. Or just leave it as is. I couldn't tell you. I don't know what's going on with all that. Because, yeah, hardware transform just speeds it up. Software skinning speeds it up. Upscale's off. I don't know. Who knows? Turn up anti-scopic filtering again, and I guess we'll just turn off those simulate black transfer effects. It's unfortunate. It would be real nice to not have to have that on. Which is, again, why we're going to be streaming off of Vita in the future. But for now, until I can get the sound working, we're doing this. Alright, Meteorite. This. I'm actually going to keep the silvers. Actually, no, I'm not going to keep the silvers. You know what? It's friggin' rookie crap right there. We're not doing silver transfers. So, to explain the silver transfer system, it's one of the little crutches that they put into this game. They actually put a lot of crutches into this game, because the original one was, the original SNES version was notorious for being kicking in the dick hard, basically. So, they added a few things. They added the lives that you see over here. So basically, if a unit bleeds out, they end up losing a life instead of being permanently dead. So they have to die 3 times to actually be dead. They have a bleed out counter. Originally, if their health dropped to 0, it's just like, they're dead. Goodbye. On top of that, previously there was no way, like, you had to train everybody up from level 1, which is why you train classes instead of units in this, and instead each of those units train up their proficiencies. And to add yet another crutch on that pile of crutches, they decided that for each of these, if they die, whatever rank they've gained, you can spend 1 silver to transfer it over to another unit. So basically, if you played FFT, it's exactly like that. It's as if they crystallized and you had somebody else eat their skills. So anything that was in their bar that they've been training for the next rank, that would not transfer. That would just go back to 0. But either way, it was basically carrying over one of the things from FFT in a more convenient manner. Alright, so let's go ahead and get everybody rearmed real quick. So Arbalest, yes, definitely give me one of them. Unfortunately, no Boulder Bows yet. We're going to need those down the line. Don't need anything here, really. Claws we're fine on. Swords we're not using. Sways... maybe? Yeah, we just got to the point of using a Sway. I need one Battle Axe. Still using Heavy Hammers. Okay. Anything we need here? Probably not. What about new shop items? Alright. We're good. We're good. And actually, let's have you learn a couple things here. You get Innervate. You already have Innervate. Good. Good. Really wish our leader didn't have to sit there and be naked, but oh well. So, the reason I'm setting up for this next fight, next one is Aracel. She's gonna ambush us the moment that we try to leave town. So, unfortunately, that is one where our leader's actually in really bad shape. So, I guess we'll just continue calling him Ned. So the thing is, yeah, she's an archer, she fires over the buildings, and she will more than likely single him out to try and kill him out. Do we want Master Undead? I don't think we'll get much use out of that just yet. Augment Dark wouldn't be a bad idea, because he's going to be using a lot of that. And still Dark? And still Shadow? Yeah, why not? And for now, since we can't use Necromancy just yet, I might as well give him Augment Dark. Might make him... I think it's only going to work for Meteor Strike, but I know it affects the accuracy of the other abilities, so that's good to have. Animate Dead we can't use yet either, so we'll just pop and Still Shadow on there. Give him a little bit more damage. And let's go ahead and do this thing. So similar team to last time, except this time a bow user would be pretty handy, as well as a flyer would be pretty handy. Actually, on top of that, I want Voltaire in this team. And I think I'm gonna down it to 2 knights instead of 3, like I was considering earlier. So first off, you need Aegis, except you're just short of being able to use it. Okay, we're not going to use him on this fight, actually. So this team will be fine. Got our 3 healers, that'll be more than enough to keep everybody topped off. Any less than that, we might run into issues. Am I forgetting anything here? Yes, I am. You go over here. Because, yeah, we're going to have the healer on the top right, so we're going to have to deal with that. Alright, yeah. Let's do this thing. Now, I know that originally, Huaponga Winds was usable. The AI did know how to use it, so... At some point they might use it, like... I guess it depends on just how technical they got with the requirements for each of the skills. Because we've noticed several times up to this point where they technically had the ability to use a skill, and were in a good position to do so, but then decided not to for seemingly some holdover reason from the base game. So, I'm assuming there might be something similar to that with Huapongo. And unfortunately, we don't really see many other Bartons in the game. I think Sand Bronze is the only one that still has them at the moment. So... I don't know. I don't know. Alright, that's weird that they're not charging forward. Alright, so they're gonna start off with all their arrows. Yes. So I'm gonna have Ned sit over here on the left. He's just gonna snipe away at the sides. He's apparently going to go take really inaccurate shots from up there. And yeah, he had a chance to use Huaponga there, but decided not to. More than likely he's going to get himself taken out. Should probably think about moving somebody over there to support him. So, AI control is turned off at this point. So, all of the Chapter 1 updates are exactly just that. They're limited to Chapter 1. Each fight has to be done individually when he's going through and modding them. Because apparently they decided that it wasn't enough to, like, all the rest of the game work in the game wasn't enough. They needed to make it harder on themselves by, like, hand placing every single unit, every single skill, every single item that they can come with, and then just, like, balancing it around that and hoping for the best, basically. So, you know, problems happens. Here, let's see if I open this a little bit. Does that help at all? A little bit, maybe? A little bit, maybe slightly. It's kind of thundering outside, but whatever. Alright, well, I guess we're breaking through the sides there. Yeah, if we put you here, you're still in cover. The best bet is to have him circle around the side there, have him drop a bunch of poison on there. They're going to be weak to him. He doesn't really have any buffs or any way to really support himself, so I'm going to just have to hope that the healers will agree to help. So it's a little bit dangerous putting him there. It's interesting that mentally, like, I'm not even picturing what these guys can do. I'm already viewing them as a mindless mob. Also, man, Canopus is doing real good. I have to check his luck. Because he's dodged 280% on the same day. Because all those battles technically happen on the same day, I believe, as far as the game's concerned. There's luck in the stars, moderation is your greatest ally. Yeah, there's definitely luck in the stars for him. Definitely and for sure. Problem is, they don't know how to remove obstacles. So they're not even considering some of the stuff going on here. So they're all going to get bunched up in the middle, so most of our damage is probably not even going to be able to be brought to bear for quite a while. Canopus is definitely screwed. He's put himself in a real bad spot down there. I mean, if he keeps up that dodging, whatever, but... Oof, wow. I mean, it would have been great if she moved and then somebody else could have relieved her, but... Whatever, that works just fine. I guess they flanked just fine. What am I needed for? Story of my life. Anyhow. Okay, good. Block and attack. You're fine. I mean, that does give us a nice little opening to run up here and support. We're getting 34, 55. I'm gonna go for this just because I want to test if it actually works. Okay, that does actually work with Augment, so perfect. I mean, it's technically any skill that damages and also is part of an element. But I believe Drain Heart counts as a healing skill. Although weirdly enough, I think they made an exception for Divine because you can heal in order to get experience for Augment Divine. But I guess not for Augment Dark or something. I don't know. We'll check. We'll check later. As in any time that is not now. Good. You can keep on doing those AoEs until it takes out that bush, and we can overwhelm you finally. Dude, Canopus, appreciate the ballsiness, but wow, what are you doing? Like, just maybe park yourself near a wall or something, buddy. Keep yourself a little bit safe, huh? I mean, for what it's worth, he's survived, even if the odds were only about 20% of him doing so. Alright, so we've got two frontliners already through their little wall there. Can't seem to land any damage on Aerosol, that's fine. I guess that's another nice benefit of having Denim as a Necromancer, though. Because we basically have a guaranteed both health lowering and guaranteed shot available at almost any time. Okay, so they relieved the Knight. So now we've just got one TK to try to break through that. So yeah, we just got Chloe trying to break through it. Yeah, and Canopus is in real bad shape. Real bad there. Alright, tell you what, can you drop a cloud right there? That's not really going to do much good. Alright, keep trying to go for this guy then. Good. Got the poison off, so let's put you right here. Such a weird team. Like, I love how anytime that you try to just leave the game to, like, to try to follow its, you know, its own internal logic and whatever else, you almost always become the bad guy. Like, in this case, we basically become the Galactana here. I mean, we're running around with Terror Knights backed up with clerics, planning to make a zombie army. We'll literally become the people who are fighting. For basically using the team that they do. Yeah, if Canopus would just use Huapongo Winds, he'd be fine. Because that gives him like 40% evasion against arrows. So he'd be fine there. He'd have regen. So he'd probably be at full health already. Dang, Canopus. Why you gotta be like that? I know for a fact you can use that skill. Alright, tell you what. I'm gonna go ahead and go for that instill. Give this guy a little bit of a burst in the back here. Good job. Yeah, he does real good damage, actually. Like, considering he's a caster, he does real good damage with a crossbow. Survive! Come on, survive. You just gotta make it a little bit more. Alright, yeah, no, he's definitely losing a life here. Or maybe not. Okay. Okay, the healer just took that tile. So yeah, no, we've established the diagonal line there, so we have control of the center. So we just have to move people up the right, but then I still don't think they're going to target Aerosol. So in the mod, all leaders have improved stats, which generally makes it so that if you are running AI, they're usually going to want to try to fight everything but the leader, unless they've got no better choices. And especially if that's going to happen... Well, I mean, we should still be fine. We've got enough healing flying around that there really shouldn't be much of an issue. In fact, I think I almost want to save that zombie army thing for later. Although then again, I could replace the healers with... could replace them with attackers, I guess. Because then they'd just be healing themselves. Actually, yeah, just Aegis plus zombies... Yeah, no, replace them with knights. Replace them with knights with Aegis, because the regen still works on zombies for some reason. Alright. Whatever works. Alright, so they're probably going to be pecking away at those two over there. Wait a minute, did she seriously just set up a spear stab and then refuse to take one step forward to get the double attack? Lady, what the hell? Alright, I know I took a 50% roll there. Seemed worth it. This tile should be safe. Aerosol should be out of range. I don't think she's got a shot. She'd have to fire over the roof. I'm pretty sure the roof would block her shot from there. So she'll probably end up going for somebody else, meaning Denim can go start harassing the healer. So he's basically become a ninja necromancer sniper at this point. Why not? Just be all the roles. I mean, he's a caster, he's a flanker over there, he's being all sneaky. He's going to end up being a support character later, but he's also a caster. He's all the things. And so much more. Oh no. Oh no. I hate when that happens. It's like one of the worst times of the month whenever... Ew. It's like whenever you look at your emails and suddenly they're like, "Hey, your monthly bill is due." It's like, or no, your monthly bill is ready. It'll be due soon, but it's ready. It's like, oh, thanks for that feeling of the inevitable. Sure love doom and gloom there, Mr. Bill. Alright, so that knight's as good as dead. He's basically poisoned with 30 health, and his healer is about to be really distracted. So Spear Chick's probably going to go up and try to give her a little bit of a stab. Good. The only issue with Denim is that he's really, really slow right now. Alright, there we go. So he can take off half her health. She's not going to be healing any. Like, he can do more than she heals, so that's it. She's done for. Okay, good. More Night Marks. Yeah, I can't get there to eat back Canopus, though. That sucks. I really don't want to lose him. But I don't think we're... What the hell's going on up there? Neighbors sound like they're knocking over furniture. Alright. Unfortunately, they're probably stuck here. Yeah, they're going for everybody but Aerosol. Okay, good. Run forward. If those guys on the left decide to go for Mighty Strikes and just kind of run up and smack her, then we should be alright. What I need is for Denim to run up, take a shot at her. If I moved him a little bit farther last time, we'd be in a better position. Because I'd be able to run up and have him maybe drop a Meteor Strike on her or something. Oh well. That'll be our second injury. Come on, crit! Oh, crit there would have finished her. Alright, TKs are rolling up. Yeah, we're one turn shy of being able to save him. Sorry, Canopus. We tried. But she's going for the shank. Good. Good. So yeah, it's all over now. It's all over but the stabbing. So, Aerosol, you thinking about leaving yet? Because that's looking like it's a bad time for you. I'll leave it at that. They're going to go and throw a bunch of healing out there. Yep. So she didn't technically die, so she'll show up later in the story as well. Namely, in about 5 seconds from now. But we're going to go save her instead. Though, I always personally really like this plot detail. It's like immediately afterwards, they set up the whole thing in Port Aston that Denham's just pretty much overcome with guilt at this point. Like, he just feels bad that he couldn't do anything to stop what happens at Goliath down here. So you get one fight where you just have another fight, and then suddenly he sees an opportunity to try and make amends with somebody that thinks he's the worst person in the world, and so he just pretty much hops on that crap. Alright, so we got Fearful Impact available now. No, I think I want... Okay, I want Fearful Impact, and I also want Dark on everybody if I can. Because that'll give them pretty much what they need to do whatever damage that they need to do, as well as still giving them a ranged option to work with. Because Fearful is 100% hit chance, 100% chance of fear. So that's about a roughly 10% drop in stats. Not nearly as strong as the old morale debuff, but a lot more understandable. Right. Voltaire, you can now learn Phalanx, but that won't really do much good for you. Actually, no, it's not bad. It's not bad, but it's also not super useful right now. Yeah, what I want is Aegis, so one more fight will get that for him. So for Sarah, she won't be able to use her thing anymore. So she needs to get to 10 to be able to use Speed Star. Then she can be kind of our speed sniper. Then down the road, I think what we want to do is change Canopus into a rogue. Then we can have multiple characters training that, and then, yeah, if we have speed snipers, that's probably going to be pretty handy. Alright, and then for our Amazons, is there anything I want to use? I got Mighty on everyone. We need Counter Hit on everybody. Alright, you need Augment. It's not going to be very useful right now, but down the road it will be. So I want Augment and I want Instill Light on my my dudes here. Also, wow, they've been doing decent damage even without having any fist proficiency. Yeah, and then I think for everyone else I'm just going to say for Vigorous, because that's kind of what I have them here for. Alright, on to Raybome. So, Raybome is the reason that I want to drain hard on these guys. There's Octopi here, and that will do a pretty decent number for them. Probably put away Canopus for the time being, especially if he's not going to be useful. I do want a Sniper here. I do want the 2 heavy hitters. I think I'm going to put Voltaire in here because I want him to use Aegis. At least one, like, at least him with Aegis for the time being would be good. Like, ultimately, this team will evolve into other things, but even one guy with Aegis would do the trick. Because I also have to consider, once we get to the very end, I need stuff that I can count, or that I can counter with a single unit that, you know, perhaps the AI would not know how to counter. Because once we get to the end fight, the doppelgangers are going to be a problem. Alright, so I'm going to move him this way. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, the nice thing about having Drain Hard on there gives them a good, reasonable offensive option if they need it. I mean, it's situational, but there's an opening for them to both heal themselves and do a good chunk of damage at times. Plus, if they're not using anything else, then we shouldn't have that, problems with anything else. I just figure with Stun, we have that one guy with a hammer and Fearful Impact, so he'll be putting Stun around everywhere anyway. We'll be getting Breach from the axes, and we'll be getting Stagger from the swords. This basically more stagger means we'll get more of the others. Either way. So, Mr. Smetal, to kind of briefly explain on that, there's debuffs. There's very specific debuffs in this game. So, like, for example, stagger makes you weaker to melee hits. I think it's like False Step or something like that that makes you more likely to be hit by arrows. You've got Strength that'll make you better at hitting stuff. Full stop, and it'll just increase strength in general. Whereas True Strike and True Flight and stuff like that are specific things, and Spell Strike and things like that are things specifically for boosting accuracy of a particular type. Like, you just got a lot of stuff. There's a lot of mechanics to this game, and I love how they were all in the base game, but then they realized that they were a bit overwhelmed as far as balancing all of them went. So a lot of them got thrown out in the most random, seemingly random of places. But recently I've been doing research in terms of, I write articles, about the series pretty regularly. So I was like researching why certain things were certain ways. And so it always seemed a little bit random that the Hydra, for example, had a leaden effect, which in the base game, the way that it seemed is that when something got hit by leaden... Oof. Okay, we almost lost TK, and now we also... Okay, healers, you can heal, you know. You don't always have to go punching out octopi. Maybe the claws on them are a bad choice. Actually, that's probably why cudgels do no damage. Oh, wow. Okay, well, that's a new revelation. So cudgels do no damage, because they were afraid that the clerics, even set to the healer AI, would go attacking things. Huh. Well, that's good to know. In fact, let me switch him over to the healer AI. Actually, you know what? I'm fine with that. I'm perfectly fine with that. Anywho. So, yeah, it was believed that it didn't really do very much for a long time. Until it was just kind of randomly discovered that it lowers lowers evasion by 40%. So leaden supposedly only affected your vertical jump distance. But yeah, it turns out that it actually lowers evasion by 40%, but most characters would have had dodge or just already would be hit for 100% damage. So it wasn't normally noticeable in most circumstances. But anyway, that's neither here nor there, so... Man, I need to sleep. You know what? I haven't slept well in days. Should really consider sleeping. I say, knowing exactly what I haven't been sleeping. It's called baby's teething. So if you've never had the joy of watching over a teething baby, allow me to kind of explain how that goes. So, say he's eating around 8 a.m.-ish, goes to sleep, seems like we'll be just fine, seems like everything's good. Try putting him in the crib, he's completely knocked out in your hands, you put him down, okay, so that didn't work. So you pick him up, okay, it's like 11 now. He's completely knocked out, he's like snoring in your hands. You put him down, starts flailing around, but then, finally he just goes to sleep. Alright, 2 hours later, I look over at the monitor and just hear more crying. Okay. Alright, good. So pick him up, do the usual, check a diaper, make sure everything's all good, wipe the nose out, clean the nose out, make sure all orifices are looking nice and spotless. Bring him over to mom there, like, okay, there you go. Tries to eat. Okay, so it hurts to eat. So, like, break out some straws. Like, okay, let's try giving him some veggie straws. Chews on some straws. Okay, now we're okay to eat. Now we've numbed out. Apparently, we've chewed enough to numb out the mouth a little bit. So now we're okay to eat. Okay, no longer okay to eat. So go to the other room, get all the pumping equipment out. So stuff has to be pumped out, put in a bottle, then put in the baby. Oh man, and so it's like just basically this constant thing where everyone's just like disheveledly running around trying to figure out what weird way to to fix the current problem of the current minute. While there's kind of this background knowledge that at any point anyone just may snap, being all super angry because it's 3 a.m. Nobody slept for days. Like if anybody actually gets worked up, the baby screams, which wakes up the other kiddo. It's a fun experience. Let's put it that way. I make it sound like kind of like a nightmare story there, but it's really surreal. Like, the closest I can think for anyone that's never had a kid, like, if you've ever had one of those situations where, like, let's say, you were still in school way back in the day or whatever, and you had those moments where you got woken up, there was some specific, I don't know, like an early day you had to go in for school, or maybe it was like a church thing. I always remember that for church things. And, just some specific function that you had to wake up early for. And it's like that feeling if you don't want to be awake, but, there's something interesting coming. So there's at least that kind of mentality. Now, there's definitely something interesting that's going to happen soon. But then at the same time, you know that there's going to be some odd adjustments that have to be made for whatever your current circumstances are. And you know that no matter how well you planned, you'll always forget to bring something that day. And it's kind of that same way. It's like those moments where after hours of trying to get the baby to sleep, you put them down, and then you realize that there's just a clip dangling off their onesie, or off of their sleeper, but there's no passy on it. And it's like, oh god. 3 seconds from now they'll be up, but as soon as I leave the room, as soon as that door closes, he'll wake up. But then if I try to put the passy in his mouth now, it's already too late. But then if I try to undo the Velcro to attach it to there so that he can pick it up when he wants to, then it's also too late because that'll wake him up. Like, no, there's no good answer here. There's so many times that happens. Man. But then the cool part is then you talk with other parents and then everybody shares their war stories and it's hilarious. It's always funny in retrospect, but then it's always terrifying when you're going through it at the time. I just noticed Voltaire's down. I guess he's been down for quite a while, huh? I mean, there's basically nothing we're going to be able to do about units that go down early. And actually, before anyone suggests it, I can't turn unique characters into zombies. I probably should have mentioned this earlier. So, not Voltaire, but... Actually, yeah. Neither Voltaire, nor Canopus, nor Sarah, nor Donalto can be zombified. And also of note, turning... I believe turning a cleric into a zombie prevents them from using any of their skills as well. So that's always fun. So they can't use any divine things whatsoever anymore. Wait a minute. I think they can still use stuff like Aegis or whatever. It's just like specifically divine-related stuff, like divine magic or whatever. Or I believe they can't equip a Brynhilder or anything like that. I'm actually not sure about that. I'm not sure about that last one. But yeah, I don't think they can. Because yeah, I recall... No, wait a minute. No. Because I recall testing this. Because I recall testing in a previous version that when I was making the AI teams for the tournament, specifically, I had given that Holy Lance to Rad, but then the moment that he turned into a zombie, he would unequip it. And in the last version, he was able to do that. So I don't know if that's an oversight that happened in the last patch and it was just super convenient, or maybe I'm thinking... What if that was maybe taken away in this version or something? I'm not sure. It's probably something worth testing at some point. Couldn't tell you for sure. Either way, we're doing alright. As you can see, we're starting to get to the point where they're not exactly steamrolling anymore. So we're still very early in. I have zero idea how the hell we're going to make it through Hanging Gardens, if we even get that far. We're definitely going to have to replace casualties, that's for sure. I need to remember to keep Mighty Strike on, maybe Mighty Strike and not Vigorous, over on the Dagger and Bow user there. So I'm going to keep her Dagger and Shortbow, just kind of that Skirmisher build. I know she's not using, like, effective Skirmisher tactics or whatever, but her ability to attack different places and also, you know, stab stuff in the leg, probably going to be pretty useful. Because anytime that they're retreating, if there's anything that gets bound, and then they can just kind of go all World War Z on whatever runs in there, probably worth having. I should also pick up Regenerate. In fact, maybe we don't need Knights. Yeah, you know what? If we have Clerics, I really might as well just use Regenerate. Because then we're still going to keep that over-leveling advantage. Good job, Mr. Sniper. Sniper! So nice and quiet this afternoon. Oh crap, is it really that? Is it really that time already? I don't even think we're gonna be able to get to Vice 1 after this, jeez. I think we're gonna have time for like this and Air Cell. Unless they manage to finish Zapan off real quick. Good job. Good job there, Evan. Congratulations on axing that guy. Actually, you know what? That makes perfect sense that you got the axe. You're always in here axing questions. It's a good time. So you found some metal pants, apparently. Although more... You know what? That'd be interesting. It's like have a separate chest piece armor. It's like the full chain dress kind of thing. Except like have it be much heavier or something. But yeah, that's actually kind of a funny thing as far as this mod goes. Well, not necessarily this mod, but just this game in general. It's just like in so many cases, they did a pretty okay job of like going and well directly trying to put historical stuff into there. Like they tried to reference it at least. They did their best. They at least got a good bit of stuff right. You know, like for example, where they have the chain plate and or the, like the chainmail and stuff like that, and they have a full description of like, yeah, you know, it's basically metal rings, and then this particular one's worn with some metal plates underneath, and also has some leather underneath, because in this one they're using leather instead of gambazon. But you know, it's not like one-to-one or anything, but in universe it makes sense. They basically establish in this universe that as far as all their equipment goes, that they have plenty of leathers available. Like, if you look around, they've got friggin' gigantic beasts that are dropping leather pelts all over the dang place. So, in that kind of universe, it would probably be more practical. Like, why would they bother going and sewing stuff when they're apparently at a lack of, they have a lack of farmland. They seem to have a absolute plentitude of all kinds of mystical creatures and crap all over the place. So, weirdly enough, in setting, it actually makes sense. Like, I'm sure it wasn't intentional that way, but still, you know, worked out. Alright, so step one, we gotta get past the gremlin. I probably should have put Ned over on the right there. Because, yeah, if I had him over on the right, he at least could use Airman. Probably deal with that thing a bit more effectively. As it stands, I'm probably going to have to use them to pressure the left a little bit and hope that Airsil decides to come this way. I'm telling you right now, there's basically no chance she's surviving this. Simply put, all of the AI guys are going to get stuck trying to hit that friggin' gremlin over and over. Like, the ones with range attacks are going to go forward, but I guarantee you everyone else is just going to get stuck on that gremlin. I've seen it before. When I was doing an AI run before, they literally all just surrounded that thing and kept missing for like 8 turns. Meanwhile, Aircel died. Meanwhile, everybody else was dying. They're like, no, we gotta swat this fly. It must die. It must get squished. Alright. So, first order of business. Now we're way on Poison Clouds here. If we go 2 tiles forward, do a pretty decent amount of damage. Oh, but that's going to put him in some risky business. So what about this? Get 90 and a health drop on him. Somebody else could run up and finish him. We'd have him out of the way. I definitely want him probably going into support against the golems, but for now we're just going to take the opportunity shots from over here. Like, really, this one little golem here is the absolute MVP. Anytime I've seen him in any version, he's just too good. No one can stop him. No one can touch him. He's just too strong. Alright, you know what? We actually won't even likely have to help against these golems. They're doing the job just fine. Alright, good. Shortbow archers got some crap accuracy, but they're doing alright. He just blocked that with his face. He just held out his chiseled skinners, or chiseled chinners, like just bang. It's like, yeah, what you gonna do? Like, man, I know that there's been some pretty good laughs about griffins and dragons blocking it with their beak or their jaw, but man, just specifically where it hits, like right on the chin, the one part that their helmet doesn't even protect, doesn't even care, doesn't have time for that. So it's kind of funny how it's a little bit of a double reference with those guys, because on the one hand, like if you look at their picture, it kind of looks like they've got a whole Middle Eastern kind of vibe going on with the helmet, but if you're looking with the overhead sprite kind of thing, it's clearly a Spartan helmet. It's like, which one did he go for? Yes, it's working! It's working. Even if they're not really healing off of it, that's fine. This is exactly what I wanted them to have that for. Because that'll automatically do 20% health, and 20% of 400 is a good, decent amount, so... Good. It's almost as much as they can hit with their weapons. And it's ranged, and it heals them, and it's going to be really useful later on when they run into Dragon and another crap. Coming in with like 700 health as they're coming in for a full heal. It's like, oh, you know, just sitting there like, oh, just losing to this dragon. That really sucks. Just like, I'm sorry, I just ate its leg and got better. Just like they're regrowing their own arm. As it was just previously dangling off all awkward like. Alright, so, you got any shots? That's not bad. And it gives them an excuse to use Instill. Like, basically with Instill you can more or less burst fire stuff. While Airman gives you the accuracy option. It's nice. Like, Necromancers have a lot of good stuff going for them right now. And because they're such a difficult to get a hold of class, you can never have more than one over the course of your run up until Palace of the Dead. So just basically Chapter 4. Well, with some exceptions, but still. Like, I think you can recruit one in Chapter 3 Law, if I'm not mistaken. But still. There's so many little variations. Like, I remember one interesting one where if you had... I think it was like if you let Gatalia live or something. I think you could pick up one type of unit early. I can't remember for sure right now, though. Actually, I think it might have just been like a witch or something that had some draconology. There's so many weirdly specific things. Like, one of those things that always made me wonder is just how much did they plan to put in there, you know? Because obviously they got stopped partway through. Like, they started with the little details. They didn't really get as far as they wanted to. I'm sure they got stopped about a third of the way in. But it made me wonder just how many little references and thoughts they meant to put in there down the road. We may never know. Alright, come on, Arcel. Come on! Survive! Survive! By the way, if you're wondering why I don't have the monks set to a healer type of AI setup, it's because A, they can take the hits now, and B, you really don't want them sitting in the back row. Because if they're sitting in the back, they will just basically look around and they're like, well, I see a guy I need to heal like 30 tiles that way. That's cool, I'm just gonna sit here. So if anyone leaves their bubble, they don't care anymore. Like they'll just completely stop. It's just not their problem anymore. It's basically not my job becomes their mentality. So one fairy tries to heal. You do you, Golden Fairy. You do you. Alright, going for the Shockwave. Or no, the Lariat. They shouldn't have access to Shockwave yet. Or the Fart Blast, as I like to call it. The Fart Blast! Why does it have that fart sound? Alright. I'm gonna have him go this way, because there's actually a small chance that he can save her. Alright, it's 62. There's 65 with a Wither, sounds alright to me. Didn't get the Wither. Oh well. Yeah, they're getting real close. Technically speaking, one of them is within range, so they might actually heal her. They just need to break through here. They're still... It took until now to get that friggin' gremlin. Like, at least everyone else piled forward. Ah! So close! So close! You almost made it, Arcel. No, it wasn't supposed to be this way. How could you? How could you, Arcel? Could you? Oh well. Rip. Rip. Oof. Okay, well, I mean... no, leave it. That's somebody's dog being a douche 2 buildings away. Just leave it alone. And there's... It's funny. No! Hey! Hey! Leave it! Leave it! Yeah, they can't really help themselves. You can train them and train them and train them. When it comes to dogs, they will still completely ignore you as soon as the moment comes in. It's like we keep trying to do this whole thing where, you know, I'll give them a snack and whatever else, try to incentivize them not to bark. Like I've been chucking a little treat here to the other one here that hasn't been barking, but it doesn't always work. Old man Barkins, come on. There you go. See? No bark. No barking. Barking Doge is getting in trouble. Right. Let's go ahead and drop one of these here, I think. And then take him out. He's already poisoned, so I guess there's not really much point in that. That barking though. Or whatever, just do that. I know I'm hitting 3 of mine for 2 of theirs. It's fine. It's perfectly fine. Man, I swear, every time I start a new run, and I'm hoping it'll be all nice and quiet, that's the day that everyone's bringing all their loudest dogs outside. Or like one miraculous moment where somebody had some really fluffy cat, and they lost them right outside the window. And they just went completely nuts and couldn't control themselves because this fluffy cat wouldn't get out of the balcony here. I just ended up canceling that day because I was like, yeah, no. This is gonna be ridiculous. Oh well. Life's life, right? Hobbies are not necessarily that important. Though, dang, I'm hoping some of my new work stuff pans out. Had yet another wonderful financial hit yesterday because those never stopped coming. Or not yesterday, it was a couple days ago actually. But yeah, so every every now and then, as I kept running into issues over and over, I found a little bit of a side income as far as the whole plasma donation thing goes. I'm like, okay, this is handy. You basically sit there watching YouTube for a few hours, and they basically cover half your utilities and whatever. So it's like, okay, this is nice and handy. But then every now and then they'll prevent you from coming in for all manner of reasons. And in some cases, those reasons are really infuriating. Like, for example, the other day, right? I go in there, and it's the first day they've just implemented some new machines. These new machines are, like, freaking out left and right. They're just going haywire. I see 2 other people leaving, and I'm asking, can I just go switch my spot because these things aren't working? Like, no, it's fine, it's fine. So, oh, my controller decided to stop working. So, lo and behold, as soon as, boo, just rolled at 11%. Pretty much immediately after it starts, about maybe 30 seconds in, like, the thing just stops. 4 people come in, they're flipping through manuals, trying to figure out what to do with the whole thing. And yeah. They just say, okay, no, the machine has decided that a bunch of its parts are disconnected, you're going home. So, that sucks. So, just get sent home. Anywho, so I come back a little while later. This was a few days ago. And then I go in, and it's a different machine that time. Also, we just almost had a massive issue, a potentially run-ending issue right there. But luckily rolled that 21% or whatever it was. Anyway, so pretty much the same thing happens again, this time on one of the older ones. So the thing starts, and it just stops. Like, it just literally stops a few seconds in. And so a bunch of them come around, they're like, poking at the thing over and over, and like, okay, look, the little spinny thing's busted, so I guess we gotta send you home. And so he's looking at his computer, he's like, oh, also, it looks like you're deferred for 8 weeks now. I'm like, okay, why? And also, did I hear that correctly? They're like, yeah, technically it counts as 2 losses within a couple weeks. And apparently they don't actually care what the amounts are. Like, the logic behind it being that so plasma donation, basically the way that it works, they they take blood out, they take some stuff out of it, and then they put it back in. So normally this means that somebody can go a couple times a week, make about $100 for that, and then, you know, just go about their day. And so it's basically like a harmless and easy thing, and other people need it to stay alive, so it's kind of a win-win for everybody. Anywho, so the logic is that if somebody goes and donates blood completely, as it were, they can usually do that. I think it's once a month or something, and it takes them a while to put that back. Now, in this particular instance, what ends up happening is that, yeah, since it's lost, since it takes the body a while to put it back, they just automatically assume the worst. So, in both of these cases, like I said, it was a few seconds, so it was an amount less than you would normally get from, for example, if you go get your blood drawn to test something. But it didn't even matter, because it still counts as 2, I forget what the exact term was. It was volume loss or something like that. But it technically counts as 2 losses. So, you know. What the hell? Movie 43, you're welcome. What's movie 43? Okay, hang on. My brother sent me a thing. I gotta know what this is. Every time he says you're welcome, it's usually the most amazing thing I've seen that week. Alright, let's see this. Also, sometimes... no. I must see! And yes, I do tend to go on the most nonsensical of things as soon as nobody's saying anything. I mean, if he's gonna send me movie 43, I'm just gonna have to, send him 6969 or something. What? Oh, bye, Vance. Okay. Hugh Jackman's in this, apparently. Oh, wait, I'm thinking of somebody else. Huh. Is he so powerless as this? Yes, nobody even follows your orders. Alright, well, I have no idea what I'm watching here, but apparently it's hilarious, so I'm gonna go watch that. Also, we just got rogue marks, so... that means we can now turn Canopus into one of them, and hopefully make him a little bit more effective. Yes, we got crafting commands, that's all well and good. I don't need them yet. Actually, no, I don't need them yet, because I can't use them. So, later on down the road, this will be a bit more possible, but, you can go craft the ability to actually revive somebody at the cost of another unit. Unfortunately, the AI does not know how to use revival items, so that is not gonna work, and I see a dog that's gonna be... oh my god. These dogs, though. I swear. A gigantic dog barreling through a playroom. Oh man, I'm so sneaky, nobody's gonna find me! Just knocking stuff over left and right. And then he's so shocked when he's found out. Also, wow, he was punching for 80s with a leather cestus. Dang. That's pretty decent. I should probably actually give you equipment, huh? Also, do we have Balder bows yet? No, we don't. Might be worth considering at some point. Actually, I almost want to consider... hang on. Can we use a lobber by chance? Yeah, Necros can use a lobber. You know what? Bit of an idea here. Kind of wonder if I should go one-handed bow and lobber on him. Because that could be useful. Actually, hell, the main reason I was using the crossbows for Brimstone Hail and for Dullbind, just basically 2 shutdown moves that you get, and more than likely we're not going above rank 4 by the end of the game, so... well, we're likely to get 4, not so much 6. But see, that way I could give him shots, so shots... let me see if they're in the shop already. Okay, no shots yet. Can we make them by chance? I don't think so. Yeah, no, we can't make shots yet. And in fact, making pretty much anything in the herbalism book just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to make. Like, it's nice for the sake of efficiency, but overall it's not really stuff you're going to be making, except for maybe, like, Panacea. That stuff's pretty alright. It's very alright, in fact. Either way, though. I'm thinking... So, shots basically are, like, just grenades. So, if I do, like, Lobber and Shield on him, that might be more useful in some fights, because they give a pretty decent amount of damage. And then they also do a debuff on top of that. So I'm thinking, like, specifically Sonic shots are probably one of the more useful ones, because they do silence. So it might be worth just, like, going around the edge of the map and then just silencing all the healers to let them kind of break through. But then I can get a similar result out of... I'll be able to do some similar stuff just using his regular casting abilities. I don't know. I'll sleep on it. But either way, we'll be continuing this run on Monday. A bit of a shorter afternoon one, as it were. So thank you guys for stopping by. Actually, it looks like maybe with some of those recent emulator changes, I haven't seen as much garbage on the screen, so maybe that's a little bit better now. Either way, yeah, sorry for the weird tangents. I was hoping more folks would be showing up, but it is an afternoon one. Not usually a whole lot of conversation going on in the afternoons. But thank you guys for stopping by. Have yourselves a good one, and yeah, see you tomorrow for the Xeno one. So we'll be continuing on that one. And yeah, with Sharon's help, I was able to fix the save file, by the way. So it exists again. It exists. It turns out it was the music mod I was using. So we'll have to figure out how to redo the music a different way. But anyway, so see you then. Take care, and thank you for stopping by.